Welcome to another episode of Crushed Custard. This is the second episode I'm recording today. Now this one is going to be a very, very quick one, he says. You know it won't be because I'll start waffling, but there are two things that are going to make sure it needs to be. One, I'm running very low on battery on the camera, and two, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm starting to flag a little bit. So what we're going to do, as I said, a brief run through of the recent acquisitions over the last few months. No detail whatsoever, just flash up the cover, tell you what it is, and then if it's one that you may want some more details about or you may want me to talk about in a future episode, whack it in the comments and we'll do a full thing on it in the new year. So here we go then, we're going to get through them pretty quickly. These are in no particular order, they're things that I just bought or picked up from wherever. They automatically get put in one of the slots down there until they're played a bit and they're cleaned up and then whatever. So some of them I've never played, some of them have had one or two spins, some of them I know nothing about whatsoever. So I said what we've got then, shall we? Let's start off with the first one, and the first one is this. Blood, Sweat and Tears, the first album. Now I'm guessing that this is some sort of reissue because it's got a bit of writing on the back by Noel Edmonds, so I'm guessing this must be some sort of reissue. Might be, might not be. I haven't looked into it in any great details yet. Came in for me in a big batch of stuff. There's an album that I haven't got, so hopefully it'll be okay and we'll get a look at it. Blood, Sweat and Tears, the first album. See, took too long talking about that. I was supposed to be just showing you the cover, and that was it. Second up, now this is an interesting one. The Small Faces, but it's an exclusive Sainsbury's edition in blue. I don't know why on earth there was a special edition for Sainsbury's. Goodness only knows. I think it probably came out a few years ago. It's certainly not originally, so it's a repress on coloured vinyl, but Sainsbury's special. Get it with your Brussels sprouts. Next up is one of those double LP jobs where they put two albums in one packet, and this one is the Scorpions. And it's got Deutsche pressing on the back, so that obviously tells us it's a German pressing. Two LPs, bit of a gatefold sleeve, and there you go, Rock Galaxy from the Scorpions. Next up, this is the Moody Blues. This is an interesting, I think it's a compilation. Nice little gatefold sleeve. And four sides, and that looks pretty interesting. I haven't actually got any Moody Blues at all, you'll be surprised to know. So this one was quite a nice one to pick up. It's going to need a heck of a clean. It's pretty mucky, but there's no scratches on it. It looks like it'll be okay. It's another one of those 2-for-1 jobs. Two originals of Roberta Flack. This should be quite interesting as well. First Take and Chapter 2. Original. Well, of course, on the inside. So that one, again, should be well worth a listen. Heavy Cream with the old flip top cover. That should be quite nice. I've got a nice sort of embossed sleeve there with the into the back. What's this got on it? It's got strange blue white room badge. It's got blue. It's got white, hasn't it? It's pretty good stuff. It's a double as well, which I didn't realise when I got it, to be honest. It's a double album with some nice little inner sheets as well. So that was a nice little pickup. Heavy Cream. Now, a couple of albums that I've been seeing in record shops for 40 years. Well, not for 40 years, but 40 years ago. So I must buy them because they'll be handy to have in the collection. The sort of band that you hear all the time that you don't maybe don't necessarily think about buying all the time, but eventually you do. I'll show you the two together and it'll make sense, and you'll see that they've just been redone. These, a lot of people tell you if you buy these, you don't need any more Beatles. Not sure that that's necessarily true, but all the famous stuff, the older stuff's on that one, the later stuff's on that one. Really good collections, nice things to have together if you just want to hear all the hits and stuff together. So albums, they're sort of thing. You see, they've been in print forever, haven't they? I don't know what they've just done to them now. There's something different they've done to them now. They charge about 100 quid a piece for them. I don't know what you can do. What is the left you can do with these sort of songs to make people buy them again and again and again and again and again? I'm perfectly happy with these. These are fine. They sound like they're supposed to sound the way they were when they made them. There's the two Beatles greatest hit sets, for want of a better word. A band we'll come on to soon, but this chap's a member of them. Pete Townsend, who came first. I must admit, I've never been the biggest Who or Pete Townsend fan, but whether I've never really fairly given them a go, I don't know. So this one was in one of those things where I bought a bunch of stuff and it was a case of keep it, trade it. No, I'll keep it for a bit and see what I think. So this one is going to get a spin and we'll see what we think of it. Pete Townsend, Who Came First. Right, moving on to some of the newer stuff now that has come through in the last few months. These again, I've been meaning to get on for ages, but couldn't find them for the right money. Eventually, I did find them for the right money. Under the Covers by, there you go, there's 3 volumes of this. Under the Covers by Susanna Hoffs and Matthew Sweet. They're covers of cover versions, as you'd expect. And Under the Covers 1 is cover versions of 60s songs. Under the Covers 2 is a 70s songs, and Under the Covers 3 is of 80s songs. So whether there'll be a 90s one to follow from volume 4, who knows. They're a nice coloured vinyl, a nice little set together, and yeah, pretty good. Nice 3 together, nice. I think these have been put out in a box set now as well. I think the box set is quite expensive. There's nothing special extra in it, so I think the box set works out to deal with them picking them up separately if you can find them. And there's also been a best of done as well. So if you can't find that, if you can't find these, you might want to find that. But Susanna Hoffs and the Bangles and Matthew Sweet. Another newbie I managed to get my hands on. Not the show here, really. It's a test pressing of the latest Paul Rodgers live album, and that's quite interesting. Double vinyl, and nice to have Paul Rodgers live test pressing. Another interesting one. Those of you that have been with the channel for a while will know that I like a good European singer, especially a good European female singer, and this is an interesting new one that came my way. This is Fleur. This is like French pop music, and it's called Bouquet Champêtre, and it's a really nice little album. It's very short, it's a nice coloured vinyl, but if you like that sort of, you know, yeah girls type thing, it's good stuff. French pop music, Fleur. Bit more older stuff now, and this is, well, let's start this 2020, so it's not that old. Vandenberg, Adrian Vandenberg, the former guitar player with lots of bands including Whitesnake. And he's got this one. He's got Ronnie Romero singing on this as well, which is interesting because he was in the sort of much maligned last lineup of Rainbow that was around a few years ago. He didn't do a bad job on this one. Ronnie Romero, Vandenberg from 2020, which leads us nicely into this one, which I need 2 hands for. This one. This is the last. Whether it will be the last or not, I don't know. But at the moment, it's the last Whitesnake album. Now, everybody knows I'm a big Whitesnake fan from the 70s and 80s, but not so much from when it all went a little bit poodle-head and a bit daft. And there's a different person in the band every week. But the completist in me has got rather more, hasn't he? And when it came to this last album, Flesh and Blood, there were quite a few different versions, and I thought, well, I heard it because I've got a CD copy of it, and I thought, I'll just hang on until I get the version I want for the right money. And I did eventually get the version I want for the right money, which was the Japanese one. The Japanese pressing, which is in a lovely violet sort of coloured vinyl. Everybody always knows Japanese pressings tend to be a little bit better than everybody else's anyway, so it was worth hanging on for that. It's by no means an essential part of Whitesnake or David Coverdale's catalogue, but it's one of those things you need it in there. That you're a bit of a completist like me. I dare say it will get spinned very rarely. I'm surprised I haven't filed it already, to be honest. I've run it through a couple of times. But yeah, it's a lovely bit of violet vinyl. Take a little bit of a look. The Obi's just come off down there as well. And there you can see if we take the record out, you can see it's even one of these MoFi sleeves. But there it is. It's a lovely sort of violet vinyl. You can pick it up on the camera or not, I don't know. But it's nice. Very nice colour. And there you go. Flesh and Blood by Whitesnake, Japanese version in violet. I think there's a gold one, there's a silver one. I think there's all sorts of different colours. This next one is an album which I've been trying to get hold of for absolutely ages. I don't think it's been released in Europe. I had to get it from America, but let me give you a tip. I'm only supposed to give tips, I don't think, on here. I'm not sure what the rules are, but anyway, if you buy records on eBay, you will notice there's a place called Rare Waves that sells quite a lot of new stuff. There is a place as well called Rare Waves USA. Now, if you go to Rare Waves USA, you can get albums from them that you can't get in Europe, American ones, and they're the same price as they would be if they were selling them in England, if you know what I mean. They're not extortionate, and it's still free postage. Now, I was a bit dubious about this because I thought when I paid for this, the postman's going to knock tap on the door and he's going to go, you know, I mean, 15 quid VAT and tax and postage surcharge and all that sort of stuff. But they didn't. It just turned up. So have a look at them. It's good. The album in question, again, those of you that know me and know what I like, will have an idea straight away as soon as you see this bit here. It's a band called The Both. They've only made one album. Well, they've made one album so far. They might make another one at a future date. But the lady in question is Amy Mann, my all-time favourite female singer-songwriter. Sometimes she fluctuates with Heather Nova. I can't really make my mind up which one of them I like the best, and they're both so different but also so similar in the fact that they're both so good. But I think we'll just call it a dead eat. But this is an album called The Both. It was made with a chap by the name of Ted Leo, who originally was in the band, I think, that supported Amy Mann on one of her tours. There's Amy walking down the street with him. There you go. And it's also in a really nice blue coloured vinyl, which is quite good. And again, with a lot of these American presses, you get little bits of pointless things thrown in. You may remember last year I showed you a Rachel Sage album which had got a load of cut out masks and things. Well, this one, you've got a little bit of thing here. You can make little cut out dolls of them and you can dress them up and put them on your sideboard or whatever you want to do. So quite sure what the thinking behind that is, but there you go. You want to make a little doll of Amy Mann and Ted Leo, you can dress them up in their clothes and put their guitars on them and away you go. But there you go. But I got that from Rare Waves in America. Only cost me 20 quid, which is what, including the postage. Incredible. I've been looking for ages, couldn't get on sensible money over here anywhere at all. Next, bit of a surprise maybe for some of this, but a good singer's a good singer in my book. Olivia Newton-John. Not sure which album this is. I think it may be the first one, but it's interesting because it's definitely an original. We know it's an original from the fact that you look on the back here, you can see it's a sample copy, and it's also the old way of doing the sleeve. It's an early Olivia Newton-John album called If You Love Me, Let Me Know. So there you go, Olivia Newton-John sample copy. Valerie Carter. This is an interesting album as well from quite a while back. Look at the back sleeve as well. We'll no doubt be looking at that at some later date. We may have done some Valerie Carter already. There's Symphonic Slam. Now this is one that belongs as a part of the Purple family, of course, because it's David Stone on this, keyboard player who joined Rainbow after Tony Carey and was on most, if not all, of the Long Live Rock and Roll album, and did a few tours. I'm not sure he lasted all that long. I think he probably lasted about 18 months or so. But David Stone did lots of other stuff, but this is good. It's a nice little album, Symphonic Slam. I didn't realise I hadn't actually got a copy of it, and I managed to pick one of those up just a few weeks ago. So Symphonic Slam there with David Stone, former Rainbow keyboard player. Now, this next one is a little bit interesting. I can't really say nothing about this one because otherwise you'll wonder why I've got it now. It is going to be a part of something that I'm going to do in 2024. Now, the reason I can't do it yet is because I'm still putting it together. And when I say putting it together, I don't mean filming it, I mean putting all the pieces together. Now, I've been fascinated for a few years about all those low price compilation albums that came out that weren't the real artists, because quite a few of them had people on who ended up becoming quite famous. There's stories out there about Elton John or Rod Stewart and people being on them. But I picked a few up just in a job lot, simply because they were virtually nothing, or 10p or 50p or something. And there's something like nostalgic, isn't there, about all those old covers and things and whatever. But I played one, and it was actually quite good because the songs were memorable. Remember, the songs from being a record, they weren't necessarily songs that you wanted albums by the original artist from necessarily, but it was quite nice with the songs again, and the people performing them were pretty good. Those musicians used to have to go into those studios and knock out 12 or 14 sort of hit singles every few months, and they were, a lot of times it was the same musicians, and they were quite good. Now this spread right across Europe, and sometimes it was the same. They got a slightly different cover or a slightly different track listing. Sometimes it was something totally different. Now, I'm at the moment trying to sort of find out how many different versions there were, and there's hundreds of them, about half a dozen at least, different ones in just England alone. And I'll do a piece on them at some point. But this was one that I picked up the other day, which has really got nothing to do with that, although it is that. What's this? There you go, if you can see that. And what's it got? What's it say? It says Slagerell Annuli. Irregistari Originali d'Anglia. Now, I can sort of figure out that means original artists of England. What have we got on it? Those were the days, so that's going to be Mary Hopkin, isn't it? I think. Do It Again, Help Yourself, Jessamine, Little Arrows, On the Road Again, Hi Jude, it was Hey Jude, I think. I'm going to get a message to you, Lady Willpower, The Guys in Love with You, Hold Me Tight, and High in the Sky. Now, this is Romanian. It's a Romanian, very late 1960s, early 70s compilation album. Now, I haven't played it yet, so I don't know if it is actually the real thing or not. What I should have done before I did this. But if you've been around all day and you've watched the video before this, you'll know that this has just been done quickly on a whim. What I should have done is looked up on translator what Irregistrari Originali d'Anglia meant. I can figure out it means something to do with original in England, but is it saying they are the originals or is it saying they're not the originals? But anyway, it's a fascinating thing to have because this was, I mean, Romanians listening to English pop music in the late 1960s, early 70s. The world was a different place then, of course, and there's some nice little pictures on the back of other ones that are available as well. I've not seen another one of these yet, but this is great. And the cover is just sort of like classic, isn't it? Late 60s, early 70s, which is the sort of thing I had in mind with the crushed custard logos and all that sort of stuff. That sort of You know, the side of Scooby-Doo's van, the Mystery Machine and all that type of thing. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to actually playing this and seeing if I can figure out whether it's the real people or not. Or whether it's going to be... Actually, whether it's going to be sung in Romanian. It might be, I doubt it. But anyway, there we go. I'll report back on that in the new year, but that's quite interesting. This is Judy Felix on the Fontana label, and this one's called Flowers, and again, it's classic sort of late 60s thing, isn't it? It's got a bit of tape on the top of the cover, but what do you expect? It's nearly as old as me, and if all I needed was a bit of tape to keep me going, I'll be fine. There you go, the record's not in bad nick, and it's a bit sort of, maybe a bit mainstream folky for my liking, but it's a nice thing to have, and again, it's nice to have these little bits of history, isn't it? That cover and stuff is so sort of like of the time. It's great. So yeah, Judy Felix, Flowers. And right up to modern times now with one of my most favourite new bands. And again, this one will be getting a big feature in the new year. The band might be getting a big feature themselves because they've got, well, I've got 2 or 3 of their albums, 3 of their albums, which are all excellent. They did a couple before that, but I haven't managed to get hold of yet, but I will track them down. They are called Native Harrow. This is their most recent album that came out this year, and it's a great little album. If you're into all that sort of, I don't know how you describe it really, ladies of the Canyon folks, I think the singer on this is absolutely wonderful. Devin Tewell, the chap on it is great as well. They were American, or they are American, but they've moved to England. They've made themselves in Brighton, England now, so their music's changed slightly on this. They're not elements of more sort of English folky stuff coming into there as well. But this is really good. Native Harrow, if you see this, grab all of this. If you see the earlier albums as well, get them. Especially Happier now, that is just wonderful. Well, there you go, Native Harrow. This one is a very recent release, and it's brilliant. It's a great album. We're definitely going to be looking at this in the future. Jenny Lewis, Joy All, brilliant. I really like this album. There's a track on it about a dog on a pickup truck, which is just so funny. It's hilarious. That'll be getting the full custard treatment in the new year, and it's vying for album of the year at the moment. I'm not sure who's going to win that. I think most people have probably got a bit of an idea who might sneak it. But Joy All, there we go. That'll be one to look at, and that's in a nice green vinyl as well. This one probably will win the album of the year. I don't know, it might do. We'll definitely be doing a big feature on this one, and I think quite a few of you are surprised I haven't done it already, but I wanted to make sure I did it justice. We've waited a long time for this. We've waited, 22, 23 years for an album full of original material in the solo guys for Paul Rodgers, because we mustn't forget the album with Queen, in which he wrote or co-wrote quite a few tracks, and he also did the really good Royal Sessions album afterwards, a few years later. But this is all new stuff. Paul Rodgers, Midnight Rose. Yes, there's been a lot of controversy about it, hasn't there, about how short it is and how expensive it is, but you can get it on CD if you want. It's standard CD price. I'm not okay with it. I may be a little bit iffy if they bring out a special edition or something in another 3 months' time and charge us all again, but I'm sure they won't. Great album. Talk about that in detail later. Really good album, as you'd expect. Really on the home run now. Just 2 more to go, and they're both. Well, this is new, but it isn't. It's a reissue, but it's not just a reissue. It's a remix and whatever else you want to call it. Now, well, David Cordell gets a lot of hassle these days about the way he repackages his stuff, but he does a good job of it, as we saw with that Red, White and Blue trilogy and the box sets that come out and things with the Restless Heart and all that sort of stuff. Now, a few years ago, he did something called the Purple Album, which a lot of people thought was a dreadful, dreadful thing to do, because what are you going to do? You're going to take a load of songs that are brilliant, have great musicians on, and then, without being disrespectful to the musicians he had on it, you're going to get musicians who are not as good and expect them to record those songs and make them sound better. Well, they didn't. Well, they had the sense to change them dramatically. And they've sort of changed them again for this. This is the special gold edition of it. Now, I didn't buy the purple album. I got sent a download of it for review, so I was doing reviewing at the time, and I was happy enough with that. It didn't make me want to go out and buy it. But when this came along, I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I should bite the bullet and get one. And I got offered one of the knockdown price, so there you go. And it's nice as well. Nice package. The purple album, if you haven't heard the originals, you'd probably think it was great, but it's obviously the bloke's voice is, what, 40, 50 years older than it was when he sang on the first time, and the musicians are not Richie Blackmore, John Lord and Pace, are they? So, there you go. Right, Snake, the purple album, well worth having those still, especially if you haven't lived with those other versions for the last 40 years. If you're like a youngster, you'll probably like these better because they're a lot sort of heavier and grittier than the originals maybe were. One band that I'd neglected seriously over the years, and I mentioned them in this already, with The Who. Now, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because they were rockers, then they were mods, and whether they couldn't make up what they were. Whether it was the fact that Pete Townsend didn't quite fit in with my idea of what a guitar rock god should be, I don't know. Whether it was the fact that I just didn't think Roger Daltrey was in the same calibre as Ian Gillan, David Coverdale, Paul Rodgers, Robert Plant, etc. I don't know. But I didn't give them much of a look in, apart from the Who's next album, Don't Get Fooled Again and all that on it. Then, of course, when they started being used in all those NCIS programmes, you kept hearing them all the time. I kept thinking, I must go back and get some of these albums. So it's one of those things that you say, but you never actually do. And then I saw this, and I thought, job solved in one go. And what it was this. It's called The Who Phases. It's a box set, and it's got all of the Keith Moon albums on it in their entirety. It's a limited edition from Germany. You can only get this in Germany, I think. You can see it on the back there. You can see what the albums are, what the track listing is, if you can catch it all on the thing there, and then you open it up, and what you've got is your little slipcase. What you've got is you've got all of the albums there on German Polydor. There you go. Who's next? And they've all got limited edition stamps on them as well. So the whole lot of them in one go, which went, right, okay, so I can now do what I said I'd do, and that's give The Who a proper going over. And it's even more important, I suppose, since a bloke in my village pub plays in a Who tribute band, and I talk to him most weeks about music, and I feel a bit guilty because he comes and brings his band into the pub and they play along, and they're good. And I keep telling him that Yvonne Elliman's version of I Can't Explain is better than The Who's, and I don't know if he believes me, but anyway, there you go. So that's it. That's something I'll be listening to quite a lot for the winter, I would think, to get me head around it. But they're all on there. My Generation, a quick one. Who Sell Out, Tommy, Live at Leeds, Who's Next, Quadrophenia, The Who by Numbers, and Who Are You? Obviously, the Kenny Jones stuff isn't included, so I've still got that to pick up at some point. So there you go. That's a quick run through about what's come through the door in the last few months. You can see nowhere near as much as it used to be. We've still got that catching up to do. A lot of things to get through. Whether this has gone out to the vinyl community or not, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Those of you who saw the video I made earlier will know why I'm laughing slightly about that, whether it is actually something that exists or not, I don't know. Anyway, there you go. So that was it. Quick run through on what's gone through the door. We'll be back. What day is it today? It's early. What day is it today? It's early Thursday morning now. So we'll be back probably at the weekend with a mainstream episode. Man in the Attic will be back with his segment, and then we'll get all geared up ready for the anniversary birthday show, which will be coming up to Christmas, but maybe even do some obscure Christmas albums for it if we can dig some out. So until then, we'll see you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe as it helps the channel to grow. See you soon.